All right, so we've talked about the WNBA multiple times,
Mm-hmm.
but the WNBA may have more problems than they realize after recent national champion Angel Reese made a comment on a podcast, a recent episode of the I Am Athlete podcast. Was it? No,
The
actually,
pivot.
it was
The
the
pivot.
Pivot. I'm sorry, it was a
Mm-hmm.
Pivot. Where she says, "I'm in no rush to go to the league. The money I'm making is more than some of the people in the league that might be top players." This speaking of all her NIL deals. So,
Mm-hmm.
Sticks, what are your thoughts about the statement she made, and then what does this mean for the WNBA?
So just thinking about this, and I watched the full almost hour episode of the pivot when her and Flau'Jae was on there,
That's
and
how you say her name, Flau'Jae?
that's how they kept saying it on the pivot. So
Okay.
that's why her and Flau'Jae was on there, and just like D'Lo said, man, the WNBA probably has a lot more problems on their hands than they think they do, especially with these draftees and these girls that are in college that are making millions and millions of dollars off of their name, image, and likeness. And if like top players are making not even making no, top players are not even don't even have $1 million contracts in the
Mhm.
WNBA. But
They have to have $1 million contracts. They
well,
probably don't make a
true.
million dollars
That's
each year.
correct. That's correct. That's correct. That's
Yeah.
correct. So if you got Angel Reese saying that she's making per year more than top players, she's not even in the league yet. My thought process automatically went to, well, why if they can continue with these NIL deals even after they're out of college, why would they even go to the league? To be honest with you, why would they even go if they're making millions of dollars per year? Where them playing the sport that they love, they're not even gonna make that. Why would they go? That's what my mind immediately went to. But they have these women. You know, the men are going to make the money. The NBA is going to pay these guys. Like you got, a lot of these kids that are not even in college yet getting crazy money. But the NBA is going to pay the guys, but the women already have that. They already have that budget that budget that they don't have. They're already not making any money per year that they can't even pay the players as much as they want to. That's why a lot of these women are going from the WNBA are going overseas to play to supplement their bread. So if they making $1, $2, $3 million a year off NIL, there's honestly I can't see a reason why they would even go to WNBA unless they can still keep those contracts, which I believe that they can once they go to the league. But if they're not even in a rush, then
Mhm.
they got a WNBA got a problem. G, they really got a problem.
Yep. But here's the reality.
Mm-hmm.
Even if she wanted to go to the WNBA right now, she couldn't go. So the statement she made is, and this is not a knock on Angel Reese at all, because if she wanted to go and she was allowed to go, she would be drafted.
100%.
But the statement she made is is like it's
It's
just
null
a
and
statement
void.
she made.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a statement she made. And the reason that is because unlike the NBA, who has a age limit of 19, the WNBA has an age limit of eligibility of 22.
22.
Angel Reese right now is 20. So even if she wanted to go right now, she could not go. Now, it is a bigger problem for the WNBA though.
It
And
is.
we've talked about the NIL deals that college athletes and amateur athletes are able to get right now, and how it has been and it will be impactful for them. I don't think we ever thought about how it would impact or affect professional leagues,
Mm-hmm.
and now we see that if the WNBA was just like the NBA and had a 19-year age limit, a lot of those girls would just stay in college. And
100%.
so it's sending a bad message not only to your current players of the WNBA, but it's also sending a bad message to amateur players currently in college and in high school that, well, the my final destination needs to be college. I just need to get to college and you know be good enough to where I can get the types of deals that the Caitlin Clarks, the Angel Reeses are getting, the Flau'Jae, right?
Flau'Jae.
Flau'Jae
Mm-hmm.
are getting, and I can make more than professional players. I don't have to. I get my room and board. I'm hoping they still doing the room and board and all that stuff free.
Mm-hmm.
Room and board's free. I don't. we need to get somebody on here to talk about the NIL and what the tax implications are for these kids too.
100%.
But I'm just going to assume I don't have to. I'm assuming they're gonna have to pay tax on it. So
Yeah.
I'm paying taxes on it, but I'm still making out better than the WNBA player. Like you said, why do I need to go to the league? And that could be, well, right now I don't think it is a tremendous issue for the WNBA.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I don't think it's a tremendous issue is because
Thank you for watching this video. If you've made it this far, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, and hit the notification bell so you miss none of the content. Also, you can find us on all your streaming platforms wherever you find your podcast.
we have not seen a player up until this point. We're still relatively early in the NIL deal process for athletes. Up until this point, we have not seen a player, guy or girl, say, well, I've made enough money with my NIL deals, I'm not going to go professional. We haven't seen it
Right.
yet, but
Right.
we know all it takes is one person, and more than likely, I'm just going to say it would be a female athlete to say I'm not going to go professional, and then everybody else are, you're going to have your handful of individuals that are going to say the same
It's
thing,
going to be a snowball effect.
and
Yep.
right, and so if that is happening, if that happens to the WNBA where they're already struggling to draw eyes, and now they'll have to struggle to get players to come
Athletes.
to the league.
Mm-hmm.
That could be a telltale sign of where the league is going. And we said in the podcast where we talked about the WNBA getting more revenue share, that it
Mm-hmm.
seems like their trajectory is going up. And if you actually go to the game, it is entertaining.
It is
The
very
girl,
entertaining.
the girls do have the ability to play at a high level. They do have the ability to entertain you. It's just not the NBA. Um, but as we mentioned 2 podcasts ago, or last podcast episode, the college girls are playing just as good. And so now you put that NIL deal, and they're saying, "Oh, well, I can make more money in college." You have one or two. Let's just say, let's use Caitlin as
Mm-hmm.
a example. Even though I don't ever expect her to say she's not going to the pros. Let's just say Caitlin Clark says, I don't want to go to the pros. I made enough money with Nike, with Hy-Vee, who are her
Mm-hmm.
NIL deals that she has right now. I'm happy. I got me a college degree. I have a little lump sum of money that I can sit on for a while until I find something new I can invest, do whatever the case, whatever it is. Let me chill.
Yeah.
What that means that the WNBA missed out on a generational talent.
Mm-hmm.
That means that the WNBA missed out on fans coming to watch her play.
Mm-hmm.
That means that the NCAA benefited because the WNBA can't pay their players the way that the players are getting paid in college.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever thought that we would have a conversation saying that professional athletes, while it's not the male, the men athlete, still the same thing. Whoever thought we would have a conversation saying that professional athletes aren't getting paid more than college athletes.
We would never have that conversation. This just sparked recently because NIL really just came into effect, what, like 2-3 years ago? For real, for real?
2018 is when it really kicked
Okay.
off, but it didn't really
It didn't really
have
boom
much.
like it's been booming
Yeah,
the past couple of years.
yeah,
And like
it
you
boomed
said,
after post pandemic, or
it
right in the pandemic.
right in the pandemic. And it's crazy because it's not gonna be it's gonna have to be a female athlete that makes that decision. And it's gonna snowball crazy because the NBA, the NFL, all of these other leagues, the men leagues can pay their the players more than they making in college. They can do that. They can
Yep.
pay, they can outweigh the NILs tremendously. But the
Mhm.
crazy thing is that I believe, and I might be wrong about this, but I'm about 90% sure that in your example, say Caitlin Clark did decide, okay, I got my NILs with Nike and we say HIV, no, not HIV, but
Wow. Hy-Vee, which is a supermarket chain. Wow.
but
Positive.
high V, positive. But in Nike and high V, what I think that I think it's something in their contracts, and like I said, I could be wrong because I know what the contract is, but I'm about 90% sure that as long
Mhm.
as they're active and posting on social media or something of that nature and making content, being a content creator, is something in their contract that as long as they still making content, they can keep their NILs
Um,
moving forward
well, I
because
mean, I'm sure.
it's a couple of players that I not that I follow, but I noticed like just scrolling through Instagram and it would be something that might pop up on my screen that might say, this young lady isn't playing in the college no more, but she still has these sponsorships and these NIL deals that as long as they're posting content, they can keep these deals moving forward into the future.
I mean, I'm sure that could be the case, especially if you have a athlete that has a high follow count and
High profile,
engagement.
yep.
Yeah, high profile, and where people continue to follow them.
Mm-hmm.
Even if so, trying to think of an athlete that's like that no longer plays but still has a pretty high. I don't really know of one, honestly.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure if there you have one of those individuals, they could potentially keep their NIL deals or their endorsement deals as what they would become or as what they are once they leave college. But I'm 100% sure that they get on a true contract after that. Whereas,
100%. Yeah,
okay,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
if you're doing this, you're not playing, but if you have this amount of spike in our revenue and all this and that, we have. I'm sure they probably have some type of promotional code that they have
Mm-hmm.
to track all of their engagement, where this traffic is coming from for these brands. But if you're bringing if you're bringing these individuals in, fine, you can keep your contract. But as soon as you don't, as soon as your numbers slip, now we taking all of that. Because I mean, we talk about corporations as well. It's about
Mm-hmm.
how you can help them, not how they can help you. I mean, they
Exactly.
help you to some regard, but it's really about how you can help them.
And then it's gonna be on to the next big star that's in college now. You ain't playing no more. They stay
Right.
out in the public eye playing for LSU or playing for Iowa or playing for South Carolina.
Insert college here.
Insert college here. And then you can
Yeah.
say, you're not playing no more, you're not in the public eye. This young lady is, we're gonna take your contract, give it to her. And that's where it's gonna stem a little bit of a conversation like, okay, is me playing more important than keeping this NIL? And if they're still playing in the WNBA, they can still probably keep those NILs because they're still in the public eye. They still got that following. They still playing the sport that they're quote unquote paid by these by these sponsorships to play.
Right.
So, but the comment of I'm in no rush is crazy. That
Yep.
is it's a crazy statement to make because you making this much and you getting paid more than these WNBA players are getting paid in their contracts. Like, how much leeway do you have with these NILs to not go play the sport that you love so much, and you're not in a rush
Right.
to go play the sport that you love so much? So that was my eye opening and mind blowing to me. It was like, yo, you ain't in no rush. You must be getting a bag, shorty. Like, what you
Right.
on?
Right. And to be clear, we're only speculating because
Yeah, facts.
we're not speculating on the comment. Angel Reese actually said the comment.
Yeah.
We're speculating on if they would actually not go and play in the WNBA after their eligibility runs out playing in college. But and the reason we're speculating is because we only have a small sample size of how much money individuals are making from the NIL deal. But based off of what we're seeing right now, we can only speculate of where it can be down the line if they continue to get this money and if the WNBA is not able to fix the issue that they have with paying the players.
And
We
bringing
can
in that
say what
revenue. Yeah.
Yeah, we can say what they deserve, but until they're able to get the eyes on the game and bring in the ads and put the butts in the seats like a NBA or like a NFL, even half of that or
Yeah.
three-quarters of that,
Yeah.
until they are able to do that and then pay those players, they're going to have this issue. And I shouldn't say they're going to because it hasn't been an issue yet. We can see this being an issue for the WNBA.
But on the flip side of that too, though, in that same podcast, in that same interview, Angel Reese said something about the eyes are actually getting on the women's game a little bit more. that championship had 9.8 million viewers.
Mm-hmm.
9.8 million people watched that national championship game.
Right.
But and then Channing Crowder asked the question, well, why couldn't Lisa Leslie do that? Why couldn't Candace Parker do that whenever she was in her prime, when they were first getting the WNBA started? Why couldn't they do that? It was like because of social media. Social media made a lot of these things possible because they're out in the public eye a little bit more, and people are actually following them, and they can see what they're doing on a day-by-day basis. So they're interested in the players a little bit more than they were back whenever the WNBA started. What was that? 1998, I think, was the inaugural season. I think they've been in for like 25 years now.
Something like
98,
that. Yeah.
97, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So back then, social media wasn't even in existence. Facebook didn't come out until I was in college. So we was in college.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that was like the start of a lot of the social media platforms now. But now in 2023, you got multiple social media platforms that they're going on. So she was like, the reason why that happened now is because of social media. So I think the tide is turning a little bit,
Mm.
not crazy, but the tide is turning a little bit as far as the women's game is concerned, especially the WNBA. But the WNBA is still going to have an issue if these contracts can't be supplemented enough to outweigh these NILs, because that's a crazy statement to make. I ain't in a rush to play the game that I love to play, that I just won a national championship in. That's a crazy statement to make.
Right. Yeah. I also think that it's crazy to think that, and again, this is me speculating. I
Speculation.
don't know why the WNBA has this rule in the way it does, but it's crazy to think that the WNBA doesn't have that much confidence in their ability to pay the players that they still have an age limit of where they're basically telling the players, make sure you go to school, make sure you graduate, and then you could come to the WNBA. Why wouldn't you mirror the age limit like the NBA, so you can get those best players that
Mm-hmm.
you can that are
Yeah,
available. Um, it's just, it's some things that need to be changed about the WNBA,
there is.
and not to pick at them because they, like we said previous episodes about the WNBA, it does seem like the trajectory is starting to go up. More people are attending the games. They are getting more excitement. They still have a long way to go, but it's starting to go up. But now you bring in this element to it, and it kind of like goes back down a little bit.
Yeah,
It's like another obstacle that they have to overcome in order to get to where they want to be.
yeah, and it's crazy. Like you said, there's a couple of things that need to be changed. That age rule definitely needs to be changed, because
Well, they don't
if
need
they
to
can,
change it now.
no, they don't need to change it. They were true, but at the same time, if they could get some of these girls at age 19, age 20, number one, their careers would be longer. Number one,
Right.
they already had that rule in there about maternity.
Hypothetically.
True, hypothetically true. They already got that rule in there about maternity. So when if they were to get pregnant, they got a rule in there about that. So if they get them younger and they don't get become mothers until later on in their career, then you
Mhm.
have more players that are playing for longer. Like it to me, that night, that them having the 22-year-old rule is kind of crazy. Because what if somebody goes into college at 17, graduates at 21? Now they got to wait a year to go keep playing the game that they love. It's kind of
Okay.
it's kind of weird to me. You
So
know what I'm
it's
saying?
the rule is you have to be 22 or have graduated
Graduated from college.
within 3 months of the draft or something like that.
Got you. Okay. Well, I didn't know the rule, so that's my bad,
Yeah.
viewers.
Yeah.
But it's just they have a lot of things they needed to fix, especially with the budget that they have and the revenue that they bringing in. They got to go hard, and the NBA is already supplementing their debt as it is, and the NBA can do that because that's the most watched sport in the world, most likely, other than, well, baseball is kind of going down, but they're gonna have an issue. They're gonna have an
Right.
issue if they can't outpay these NILs. They're gonna have a problem.
Yeah, I feel like to finish it up, it just sends a bad message.
Hmm.
So the WNBA needs to figure something out. They need to address it and they need to fix it. And the main thing that they need to fix is the actual amount that they pay on average to
Hmm.
their players. Because mm, if you have girls that are saying, "I'm in no rush,"
Generational talent at that.
Yeah. That
Yeah.
that that means that your league is in no rush. And when you're not in a rush, you're stagnant. And when you're stagnant, you're basically dying.
100%. Damn, that was a bar, nigga. What the
You feel me?
fuck? Yeah,
You
feel
know?
me? Yeah, but
Yeah.
putting bars out there, boy.